Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Grip Vision's coverage of the championship or Champion Power Equipment Truck Series today at Kentucky Speedway. Last week we saw the All-Star race, of course, unfold. Definitely a good race, but this week we're going to be going points racing here at this mile-and-a-half track. Very unique place. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have Austin Edstrom as my co-commentator. Austin Darbyshire down behind the cameras. Running a little bit late tonight, but we're definitely going to bring all the action here tonight to you. 100 laps at Kentucky. Going to be curious to see how this all plays out. Very difficult racetrack, very unique. Quick thoughts, Austin, before we get into the starting grid here.
Well, it's kind of a tough one because I haven't seen this racetrack in years. So I don't really know what to expect at this point, to be honest with you. But I know Kentucky has typically put on a good show on iRacing, at least. It wasn't the best real-life racetrack I've ever watched in my life. But to be fair, I mean, with the trucks, I can see this putting on a pretty good show. It's a relatively decent mile or different mile and a half than what we're normally used to. Yes, still very cookie cutter, kind of similar to what we saw through the 2000s, but this is a lot different track, man. The way the corners are they're more egg-shaped, I feel like, than other mile and a halves, which is just a little bit of a different challenge. So it'll be interesting to see who kind of gets through each corner better than everybody else.
No, I definitely think that's a good point. Very hot track as well, 121 degrees at the moment. Let's take a look at the starting grid for this evening's action for this 100-lap race at this racetrack. Of course, Keegan Sabilo qualified out on the pole. Andrew Hale, of course, going to be starting in second place. Nathan Meyer in third. Craig Yanzak is going to be starting in fourth. Brandon Ball fifth. Sean Bounty sixth. James Harris, of course, seventh. Justin Levine eighth. Jason Taylor in ninth. And Michael Little rounds out the top 10.
11th is going to be Brad Thacker with Tyler Meeks in 12th, John Lucido in 13th, James South in 14th, and Robert Wynn in 15th.
Well, we got a quick moment. I do want to go through the points right quick just to kind of refresh everybody. I kind of talked about it last week at the All-Star race. But Keegan Sabilo, he gets the pole. Well, he is at the top of the board when it comes to points as well with 149 points right now. Nathan Meyer, of course, sits in second place. John Thacker, or Brad Thacker, I should say, sits in third. Justin Levine fourth. James South fifth, John Lucido sixth, James Harris is in seventh, Craig Anzak eighth, desperately needing some points here. He's starting in fourth here today. Mark Math ninth, don't see him in the competition tonight, and Brandon Ball in 10th. Nice size field, 15. I think that's going to be about the perfect number here at Kentucky as we start rolling.
Yeah, I think we'll get a good showing here tonight, and I'm kind of surprised that Craig Anzak's all the way back in 8th place. I feel like he's been one of the quickest drivers this year. Just maybe hasn't had the luck quite fall his way the way that he needs it to happen. But I'm just really surprised that he's back in 8th place. I feel like he's a top 3 challenger in all seriousness, just based off of speed. So it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of pick up the pieces, because I just feel like that's a little lower than what I would expect from Anzak.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll know he'll be aggressive. He'll probably run his way closer to the front, and of course. One thing that's kind of interesting about this track, you talked about this is a unique mile and a half. I mean, you kind of mentioned cookie cutter. I would not really say this is a cookie cutter. I'd say this is very unique driver mile and a half in a lot of ways, especially the way 3 and 4 handles. You kind of have to use a little bit of brake to get through those sets of corners here, as we are filing down the back stretch at the moment, getting ready to enter turn 3 and 4. Pace car lights are out, and we're definitely getting ready to see this high octane action. Copyrighted by Brian Britt, Incorporated. But this is a hot track as well. Curious to see how this is going to play out. 100 laps. Competition caution, I should mention, is going to be on lap 20. And fuel window is about, I do believe, 30 or 48 to 50 laps. So it should be a one-stop race as we get ready to enter the Geico restart zone. Keegan Sabilo set to go up through the gears, and there it is, green flag out for the first time here in Champion Power Equipment Truck Series competition. And so far, so good as we verge on possibly 3 wide. We talked about Craig Anzak being aggressive. Well, he is already possibly trying to think about making it 3 wide with Andrew Hale, who's trying to hold off that 3 machine up on the top line.
Yeah, we saw Keegan Sabilo, the race leader, duck down to the apron after the start-finish line. You can tell he just really doesn't want to give up that bottom of the racetrack going into turn 1 on the restart. Good defensive move into the corner, but he's still side-by-side for the race lead. Andrew Hill on the outside is flying around, trying to get that run down the front straightaway. He might have it on Sabilo right here. He's cleared him before they even get down to turn 1. Move Andrew Hill up to the race lead. Great start there from the 4.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going to go with the tires, though. I mean, I know the first 5 laps of a run are usually just the most important when it comes to saving tires. So I think that maybe did Andrew Hale just kind of, hurt those tires a little bit with that boot scoop boogie move on the top side there.
I do feel like using the top side of the racetrack and not getting all the way down to the bottom hurts tire life, right? You got to put a little bit more wheel into it, a little bit more throttle into it. If you're on the bottom of the racetrack, you're really just easing off the gas, letting the truck drive down to the bottom of the racetrack by itself, just putting a little bit of turn into it. And after you notice the nose start rotating, then bam, you pound the gas. But Andrew Hale is not doing that right now. Through the center of the corner, he's pushing. He's trying to get away from this pack behind him. He's put out a little bit of a gap over Sabilo here, 0.3 of a second, but I'd be a little bit worried if I was the driver of the 4. The way he's driving, I just feel like those tires are going to be crying here pretty soon.
And what's really crazy is Andrew Hale usually is a better, longer run race car driver. So this is kind of surprising to see that he is prioritizing the short run right now. And it could all have something to do as well that we're going to have a competition caution. As one driver who's been really working his way through the field, James Harris, up to now 4th place. Love that patriotic paint scheme on the 55. Of course, this race, I do believe, is themed for Veterans Day. So definitely love that that red, white, and blue machine he's got there.
You know what I really miss? Old Kentucky, man. Old Kentucky was so fun. There's bumps all over the racetrack. Here in the newer version of it, it's as smooth as a baby's bottom. I mean, there's no, there are no divots. There's nothing. I mean, there's that little manhole cover that we saw Blaney hit in real life at the last Kentucky race. But other than that, on the actual racing surface, I mean, this is the smoothest racetrack that NASCAR used to go to right after the repave. And there's not a lot of character to it. You really got to run one line. Andrew Hale's doing it a little bit different. He's not in that one line, but again, I think that's going to be at a detriment to his tire life. I don't think that that's going to be sustainable. So there's really one racing groove that you want to be in. You want to stick down to the bottom of the racetrack and let off the gas. Don't use too much of it. But a couple of guys are trying to make the high side work, and it'll work for a little while. But those tires, they will be crying.
And you see that black line right on the bottom of the racetrack. I think that's kind of the sign, a little bit of the reference point that you should be using. You got to run down there for the most part. As we're looking on board, I do believe with that patriotic machine of James Harris, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I think this is somebody else, but we're seeing. I think this is actually Nathan Meyer that we're looking at through the cockpit camera. If we look further back, Harris is actually embroiled in a huge fight right now with Justin Levine. Of course, Levine coming off of a win last night in the Grid Vision Super Speedway Series at Talladega in the Xfinity car. He has got to be just hyped up and on fire right now with that big win, and he's definitely carrying the momentum here tonight.
Yeah, he's able to work around Harris there for that 5th place position. Levine up to the top 5 after starting in P8. So good start here from Levine, just kind of slowly, methodically working his way forward. 8 laps in, picked up 3 positions. Pretty solid, return of investment there, kind of coming through the field. So good job from Levine so far, but he's still got Meyer in front of him. Meyer's been really quick, hasn't been able to seal the deal with a victory yet. I'll be interested to see just kind of later in this race how Nathan Meyer does. Sean Boundy, a bunch of these guys have been quick all year, but just haven't really been finding victory lanes. So I just feel like a first-time winner for the year is right around the corner.
No, I definitely think that's very much true. I mean, of course, Nathan Meyer specifically has been incredibly consistent here this season. He's second in the points right now and hasn't really found victory lane, so that's kind of a surprise. Craig Ganzak, though, embroiled in a battle right now with Brandon Ball for the 7th place position. Of course, Ganzak started in 4th place, has fallen back since the beginning of the race. I'm wondering if he's possibly trying to save tire. But we are starting to see tire life starting to fall off as we see Tyler Meeks running all the way at the top of the track. And Brandon Ball almost bump drafting Craig Ganzak out of turn number 4.
Yeah, Ball trying to make the move on Ganzak. Crazy to see Ganzak drop a couple positions here at the beginning. I thought that he would be right up there challenging the race leaders, but like you said, he could just be playing a little bit of tire strategy, trying to make this thing last. But I do know that they've got a competition caution for that stage break. I don't know the exact lap, but I mean, everybody's going to come down and take tires then, right? So I don't know if the tire saving strategy is necessarily the one to go with, unless he thinks this is going to be a caution fest at the end and he can maybe save a tire set and use it towards the end of the race. But I don't know. I really wouldn't bet on that strategy with 15 trucks in the field at 1.5 miles. But Andrew Hale's kind of impressing me. I didn't expect him to still be holding this pace, 11 laps into the race. Still 0.4 of a second up on up on Sabilo. It's starting to come down just a little bit. That time through 1 and 2, he was able to cut a 10th out of that, Sabilo was. So good corner there from Keegan. But Andrew Hale's kind of impressing me. It's still just way up the racetrack, though. I'd be really surprised if this is sustainable through a whole run.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be, but I have been impressed as well that he's been able to maintain this gap. It's about 3/10 right now, and he's been doing a pretty good job. I mean, last time by, though, he was a little over a tenth slower than Sabilo. So I think it is starting to catch up with him here. I think it shows as well that Hale probably thinks that clean air is more valuable right now. And I think that's the thing he's kind of fighting for at the moment as we're watching a little bit further back. We see some battles that are starting to brew. Nathan Meyer, of course, is catching up to Sean Boundy right now. Very close on lap times all throughout the field here. As it looks like as well, I see Craig Ganzak. He is recovered quite nicely. I think, like we were talking about, we think he's been saving tire, and now he's coming up to the back end of James Harris.
And I hate that we have to point out that about Andrew Hale, running a different line, it being such a detriment to him. But that's just kind of the state of oval racing on iRacing right now. And it's why I am so excited for this December update, because we're going to be getting that oval refresh. Or is it the December update or is it in January? I don't know when it is, but the next update, we're getting an oval refresh. And I am so unbelievably excited for that. This sim needs it so bad. We're going to be able to run multiple lines. At least that's what they say. We're going to be able to run different lines and whatnot. So the track cooling off in different areas, you're able to kind of search for some grip in other spots. That's what's kind of rumored. So hopefully, if this race took place in a month, then Andrew Hale running the top side probably wouldn't be too bad. But here today, where you're fighting for one lane around just about every oval. You're fighting for one lane, especially the mile and a half. And I feel like this is just a month too soon for Andrew Hale to be making that top side work.
Yeah, no, I definitely could see that as we see the fall off has increased a lot more. I mean, it went from these guys hitting about 32 flats to now 32.5s. Fall off is just great. Sean Boundy is struggling probably worse than anybody on this racetrack. 32.8 last time by, as he is, of course, under fire from Nathan Meyer and Justin Levine. Levine thinking about possibly taking him 3 wide for that third place position. And he's going to do it. He shoots to the bottom. And goes down even on the apron a little bit here to try to get this spot. And I think, yeah, Levine is going to clear into turn number 1, but he's going to have a very narrow entry. But also you see James Harris, Craig Ganzak. All this has just caused somewhat of a funnel.
Yeah, Levine did a good job through the center of the corner just to be able to keep that momentum. But we've actually got a battle for the race lead. Sabilo's actually to the inside of Andrew Hale here through 3 and 4. Able to get his nose out in front just a little bit coming out of the corner, but they're still even coming off. That's the thing. That outside line, it's going to hurt your tires a little bit. You're going to end up being slower, but it's a defensive line, too, at the end of the day. You can get that big run off the corner as long as you just really don't overdrive it. But you got to worry about that guy on the inside pulling that slide job, and Sabilo almost able to kind of complete the pass off of turn 2. But, Hale squeezes him really tight off the corner. Probably shouldn't be doing that coming off at 2 at Kentucky, but they ended up being all right. Going down to 3, still side by side.
Yeah, neck and neck, door to door. This does not seem like it's going to cool down at all. It looks like Sabilo just not able to track out on the corner, on the exit of the corners. And that's what you need to track like this. You need to be able to unwind that wheel and kind of go up to that wall to be able to have the, the momentum to make that pass stick. So, unfortunately, Sabilo not able to have that. And you know what this is causing? This is bringing Levine closer and closer to these guys. Of course, they still have quite the gap of 1.7 seconds. And we're also coming up to 2 to go in this competition car. Then we'll have the yellow flag for the competition caution. But these guys are still battling. I think this is a battle for track position for when this next restart happens.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you 100%. I mean, they're going to have to come down pit road, and typically whoever's on pit road first leaves pit road first, especially if you got one of the first couple boxes, and we know both these guys have the first 2 boxes. So as long as they have a clean pit road, whoever takes the lead coming to the caution is probably going to be the leader coming off of pit road. So this is a big fight at the end of the day because we saw how fast Hale was in the short run, right? If we get some cautions and it kind of leads into his strategy here of being a short run demon, then this could play right into his hands. He was really, really quick on the short run. So we're going to have to see coming to the competition caution this time by.
And you got to know Sabilo is probably getting very frustrated right now. I mean, there's the yellow flag. I thought it was going to be next lap, but it was this lap. And Andrew Hale, of course, was able to be the leader at the time of the caution. So right now it is Andrew Hale. Of course, no points awarded here for this comp caution, but Andrew Hale is in first. Keegan Sabilo second. Justin Levine's in third. Nathan Meyer fourth. James Harris is in fifth. Craig Ganzak's sixth. Sean Boundy seventh. Brandon Ball eighth. James South ninth. And Jason Taylor at the moment is in the top 10 in 10th. That's a look at the 1 through 10 right now. Let's take a quick step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back with some more racing here at Kentucky Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grip Vision's coverage of the championship or Champion Power Equipment Truck Series here at Kentucky Speedway. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have Austin Estrom as my co-commentator, Austin Derbyshire, pulling all the strings back there with the cameras. Of course, Andrew Hale right now in the lead. I do believe he has chosen the top side. One thing we saw under commercial, Keegan Sabilo, big mistake, misses his box. That relegates him back to 6th place, Austin.
You know, we saw how hard it was for him to pass the race leader there. So it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of come through the field any easier, or if he's going to stall out a little bit behind some of these other trucks in the dirty air. Maybe it's just the lead car that has, holy cow, that hard to pass. So maybe he can get up to 2nd place and then try to fight it off. But it'll be interesting to see if he can save those tires and still make his way back up to the lead.
Yeah, that'll definitely be curious to see if he's going to be able to do that. Of course, Andrew Hale in a good spot. Justin Levine has been working his way through this field all race long. Can he keep to do just that as he has the inside? We saw how good the top side was, though, on that first green flag. Green flag is out, and Andrew Hale up to the gears quickly.
That was a really good restart from Hale. Just kind of waited in the restart zone a little bit, came down just about to Levine's door, and then just gunned it. And I feel like a couple people had some wheel spin issues, but Andrew Hale, Levine, Meyer, and Janzak all looking pretty good here in the top 4. And Janzak recovering from his poor start. Looking to the inside of Meyer for P3, but man, all up on the back bumper of Justin Levine. It's going to be a lot of dirty air, but he's got the newer tires, right? The grip from the new tires can offset it just a little bit. It can help you get through the corner a little bit better than later, but unfortunately for him, didn't work out that time. He ends up losing out on that 3rd spot to Nathan Meyer. He just kind of got pinched off the exit of the corner. Trying to mount a charge back up, though, looking to the inside once again, but Meyer's going to cut him off in the middle of the corner as Levine actually has a little bit of a run on Andrew Hale coming out of 2.
Yeah, big battle going on right now for the lead. Here comes Levine to the inside in the middle of 3 and 4. Can he make the pass stick? As they're going to be neck and neck on the exit of turn 4. And I think Levine, I think he's going to get it done. Not quite. Not able to get clear. One thing about this racetrack is very easy to get good runs on the front stretch. But I think Levine going to send it in hard into 1 and 2, and he clears.
Yeah, now Andrew Hale's just stuck on the outside. It's like Martinsville, you're stuck on the conveyor belt now, it seems like. Hale all the way back to P4 as Yanzak looks to get through to the inside. They're still side by side entering 3, but Yanzak just drives it in really, really deep, takes the corner, makes it his own, move Yanzak up to P3. Andrew Hale from the lead to P4 in 1 lap.
And you got to think that Craig Yanzak has got in mind right now, I have got to be perfect, just considering where he is in the points right now. I mean, he's all the way, I do believe, in 8th. So he has got to be somewhat alarm bells ringing right now in his head, at this point in the season. So no wonder, Yanzak's making such big moves. What is he going to do to get by Nathan Meyer and Levine here?
Is this a full season points? I've been doing too many playoff series recently. I don't even know off the top of my head.
Yeah,
so it's full season points.
On points.
Yeah, so yeah, you're absolutely right. Yanzak's got that's a hefty hole to dig out of. I don't know the exact point difference, but being back in 8th place whenever you've had top 3 speed the whole year, at the end of the day, you're underachieving, right? We've seen how stupid fast Yanzak has been all season long, been fighting for the lead multiple times, now trying to fight for 2nd against Nathan Meyer. But Meyer back in 8th in points. I mean, that's got to be a tough pill to swallow at this point in the season, but it's still relatively early. You've got plenty of time to claw that back, but it is a sign for worry. Not right now because he's running P3, but the problem is Justin Levine, who's 3rd in the standings, would move up to 1st with a win and would still gap Yanzak a little bit in the points. So seeing Justin Levine out in the lead is not what Yanzak wants to see in terms of the points.
No, not at all. And of course, the points from 1st to 8th place is about, I think 18 points. So that is not an insurmountable gap, but it still is. It puts you in a little bit of a worrisome state, I'd say, as Levine, of course, trying to take off from the rest of the field. Now, does he have similar issues to Andrew Hale? I don't know. Usually we see Justin Levine very good on the longer runs. As we see as well, some battling going on further back in this race. We see James South trying to hold off. I do believe Michael Little a little bit further back as well. Side by side, Brandon Ball, I do believe, trying to battle with Little as well. 3 wide right now.
I was about to say, it's a heavy battle back there. I mean, they are fighting tooth and nail. Every point matters. James South having a good race so far, though. He started P14 up to 8th place so far. I mean, really good start there from South. He's 2nd in the championship right now. He might be tied for 1st. He's either tied for 1st or down a point. So South just looking for another good weekend here. Just kind of build on that. Keep him up in the top of the standings. Done a really good job this year so far to be up that high. And, he's running 9th place right now, but he started 14th. So within 30 laps, he's moved up a handful of spots. But he is under fire from Michael Little right here for that 9th place position in the middle of 3 and 4.
So I'm showing South in 5th in the points. We might be looking at 2 different points here. But, he's definitely probably wanting to definitely capitalize and get as many points as he can here as he is battling very hard with Michael Little, still side by side. Of course, this is causing the guys ahead to start to kind of pull away on him. Love that paint scheme for the 93. As, of course, Justin Levine, speaking of pulling away, he's doing exactly that, up to 8/10, almost a second now that he has on Nathan Meyer. Last time by, he was 0.2 faster than everybody else on the field. So it seemed like clean air probably key. And let's see if he's going to be able to maintain this speed. Now, keep in mind, if we continue to go green, we'll have to have at least 1 green flag stop. Fuel window is about 48 to 50 laps.
Yeah, I'd be a little worried just with how big of a gap he's gotten, but he's not running that outside line like Hale was. He's getting it down to the bottom of the racetrack, letting the truck do the turning for himself, and then throttling up in the middle of the corner after it's kind of done rotating, and you're just using the throttle to rotate it off the rest of the way with the weight kind of transferred to the right rear of the truck. That's kind of what you're aiming for on these 1.5 miles. You really want to drive it out of that right rear in the trucks and in the Xfinity car, and if you can do that right, I mean, you can be unbelievably quick and save tires at the same point, right? That's where the the aliens kind of separate themselves, having that ability to do that on the mile and a halves, and every racetrack too. But the mile and a halves, it just seems to really matter, where you get that weight onto the right rear of the race car. I don't think it works as good in the next gen because there's no side force to lean on, but in the trucks, plenty of side force for that right rear to step out into the air a little bit and catch it and just put it right back into place.
And it seems like we saw a pass there for 5th place. Of course, Keegan Sabilo had made a mistake on pit road, lost several positions, but now has gotten back one of them at least from Andrew Hale. Hale now getting passed by James Harris. Harris with a pretty big scent, able to get clear of the 4-4, tries to cross him back over, not quite able to get there. So Andrew Hale somewhat into struggle territory right now. So he's been running high quite a bit. I don't know why he keeps using this line. Of course, you would think I guess on paper it would make sense that it would work to be able to, I don't know, just be a little bit quicker, to have more momentum on that higher side, but it's not doing any favors to his tires. I mean, looking at lap times right now, last time by, he was about 4/10 slower than James Harris. He was about 2/10 slower than Tyler Meeks, the driver behind him.
Yeah, the problem is Kentucky, well, there's a couple problems. It doesn't have progressive banking, and it's not worn out. This is a brand new racetrack. Especially, I mean, if you go back to any repave, other than Super Speedway Atlanta, every racetrack becomes a one-lane racetrack after a repave for years and years and years. And it's no different on iRacing, right? The repaves come out, and you look at Texas. What do you do around 1 and 2? You run the absolute bottom of the racetrack, you wrap it all the way around, and come off the corner. 3 and 4 is just a weird wide open mess. But then you look at like Old Charlotte, whenever it got repaved, man, you just ran the bottom of the racetrack all the way through the corner. You got to do the same thing at Kentucky. You just lose a little bit of speed. You got to turn a little bit more, which wears out that right front tire if you're up on the outside line. And it just makes you tighter and tighter and tighter the entire run. And I mean, I'm just kind of surprised at how early Hale is feeling the effects from it. But he's absolutely feeling it right now. I mean, he is hurting, struggling, falling all the way back from the lead to P7. He looked quick on that first run, but here on the second run, it looks like he's not finding it, or that outside line good. He doesn't have the progressive banking, and it's a new reconfiguration. So that outside line is just not going to work for him.
Yeah, and I'm even curious. It looks like the temperature of the track as well has heated up a little bit. I know we started this race with 121 degree Fahrenheit racetrack. Now it's 124, so 3 degrees. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, it's getting hotter. That also could cause more tire wear as well. So, could that be the case? We've been watching some heavy battles further back here in the pack. Of course, I do believe Brandon Ball trying to contend with Michael Little in the 93. And this has been a pretty brutal battle. Of course, Ball was in the fray, battling with Jason Taylor there for a moment. Was able to get by him, and now Ball working his way forward. Now, Ball has started a little bit closer to the front of the field, but unfortunately is not doing too well when it comes to track position, as you saw Little almost get into the wall there.
Yeah, Ball has started in 5th, trying to fight back to 10th right here, but you made a great point on the track temperature. If you're somebody like Andrew Hale, who's already stupid tight through the center of the corner, and the track temperature's going up, man, your grip levels just continue to go down. Doesn't matter what you do, you're just going to keep fighting it. So, interested to see that Hale is, still committed. Look at him, he's running way up the racetrack, man. I mean, the guy in front of him, Harris, even gave him the bottom lane that time. He could have easily gone down there and taken that clean air, but he decided to wrap the top. Actually got really good momentum out there compared to Harris. Maybe because Harris missed the bottom himself, but Hale looking to make that position back. I was talking about him being too tight, but I don't know. He's starting to kind of wrap his way back up here, fighting for P6 on the outside of the racetrack, doing a good job there on the outside of Harris.
Yeah, I tell you, he's really having a significant recovery there after that snafu on pit road. Keegan Sabilo up to now 4th place, has just gotten by Sean Boundy. Made the pass look fairly easy, considering it's been so difficult to pass at this racetrack. He has now, of course, set his sights on Craig Yanzak. He's got about 9/10 to get up there, though, to battle the 3. Now, of course, keep in mind, Yanzak and Sabilo have a little bit of a history. They have had, I don't know, Edstrom, you've been here for them. They have had some bust-up battles out here on these racetracks during this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that they're, enemies or there's any animosity, but there's definitely been some close calls, some hurt feelings from time to time, but I don't know if that'll affect how they race each other tonight. Well, we'll see. Yeah, there's a lot Yanzak can do to hold on to that position, right? We've seen it. You can run a little bit higher to get that momentum off if you're trying to defend, or you can just dirty air block the entire time. So there's a couple things that Yanzak can do to really make Sabilo's life difficult whenever Sabilo does catch him, if he does. So we'll just have to wait and see if that kind of comes to fruition. We might see some some more hurt feelings here and some bent fenders not too long from now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just know looking back to what was it, Lucas Oil, when we were there, that was a battle if I ever saw one. I mean, those guys were getting physical, beating and banging, I mean, that was short track racing at its finest. Definitely was a fantastic race to call. And I'm just wondering if any of that is on the mind of Keegan or Craig. I mean, if it is, then we're probably going to get to see possibly another round of fighting here, as Keegan is starting to close in. He's got about 7/10 now to get up there to Ganzak, as well as Bounty. I'm surprised he's struggling as bad as he is. Usually very, very good on the long runs. I mean, considering in Thunderclap competition, he was one of the best long run specialists really in that series. But it seems like he's struggling here at Kentucky.
Yeah, he's falling back a little bit into the clutches now of Harris Harris trying to take that 6th place position away from Bounty in the 34 there. But I don't know. He is just dropping back a little bit off of the back bumper here of Hale after Hale got by him. And we were talking about Hale struggling, and then Hale came back to life, and now Bounty's the one kind of on the back foot, just trying to kind of pick up the scraps right now. It just seems like he's not quite got the speed that we're used to from Sean Bounty. I mean, we saw it at Texas. I feel like Texas 1 and 2 is a similar racetrack. Like 3 and 4 here and Texas 1 and 2 are relatively similar. Not too banked. You just got to wait on the throttle. The difference is the turn 2 wall at Texas is unbelievably tight, and the turn 4 at Kentucky, you can kind of wound up to the outside of the racetrack with no problem. But they're similar corners, and Bounty was pretty daggum quick at Texas, if I remember correctly. So I'm a little surprised to see him be struggling here in the early going, now losing P6, dropping to P7 with Harris going around his outside.
And while we have a little bit of a moment, I do want to give a shout out to, of course, one of the sponsors here of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. That being Champion Power Equipment. Are you looking for reliable or high-performance power equipment to help you tackle any job? Look no further than Champion Power Equipment. Whether you need portable generator, pressure washer, or any other power tool, Champion has you covered with top-of-the-line products at affordable prices. And as a proud sponsor of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, we're excited to bring you even more power and performance on and off the track. Visit championpowerequipment.com today to learn more. Just wanted to make sure we get that in. That way they're like, hey, you didn't say anything about us, Brian. But the racing's been so good. Sometimes it's so hard to get to these ad reads because we got so much action on the track, Austin.
Yeah, there's a good bit of battling here. We still got fights all around. Harris got past Bounty, but he hasn't really been able to run away from him. Still, Bounty stuck right under him. But, I mean, Bounty's going backwards. I'm really shocked to see this from Sean Bounty.
Yeah, definitely. Me as well. I mean, you kind of mentioned his performances at Texas, and this is 3 and 4 at this racetrack. I think are very similar to 1 and 2. The way you have to back it up, right? So that is kind of surprising that he is struggling. Hopefully, he gets everything kind of righted on that shift for sure. Of course, he's in 7th right now. Not the worst place to be, but it's still not ideal. I mean, considering he is, I do believe at the moment the points leader, if I'm not mistaken. Well, no, he's not. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. Looking at it, he's actually sitting. Well, actually, no, he's not even hardly in the points. I was definitely mistaken talking about points. So he would need a miracle to be able to even be in the line for possibly a championship. But we see the battle starting to take shape between Keegan Sabilo and Craig Ganzak, dueling right now, the 3 and the 77.
Yeah, this is the battle you were talking about. What does Sabilo do? They've had a little bit of issues in the past, but this is a mile and a half, right? You risk a lot whenever you're running this fast and banging doors, hitting each other a little bit. If you get a little bit of damage, I mean, that arrow kills you for the rest of the race. So I'd imagine Sabilo takes it a little bit easier here. Don't get me wrong, he's still going to try to pass. I mean, I'll say that. They're about to make contact in the middle of 3 and 4. I mean, that's about as close as you can get. Great camera work there from Darby. Moving him from a B- to a B. Good job, buddy. But Ganzak able to hold on to that position for now.
Yeah, and it's really interesting there. Craig just not really giving Sabilo a lot of room. I mean, you could see that he was very much trying to pinch him down. He's trying to play, I think, mind games with the 77. Doesn't want to really give him a whole lot of, not a whole lot of give and take going on right now in this as they go side by side again. Does Sabilo have better luck? He's definitely not going to have the room to track out, I think, as much as he'd like. Well, no, Ganzak gives him a little bit more room now, but still, it's going to be incredibly hard to pass. Keep in mind, Sabilo has real-life race experience on the short tracks. He drives late models, so I mean it'd be definitely very difficult, I'd say, to rattle this guy's cage. And it looks like he's going to get the pass completed What does Janzak do? Looks like he's going to push him a little bit down the backstretch.
That was a tough pass from Sabilo to make that work. He really rotated the exit of the corner really, really well. Just waited on the throttle, made sure that nose was pointed, and was able to get off the corner a little bit better than Janzak. But here, Janzak from the top side of the racetrack, able to kind of get back to the top side of the 77 on the front straightaway. I did not expect him to get that run off at 3 and 4, but he's fighting back for this P3 position. It's only 2.5 seconds off the race lead with 48 laps to go. Every position matters, man, especially for Janzak, being 8th in points. He's got to get up there, get a couple points. Doesn't want to lose too many to Levine.
No, not at all. He definitely wants to get every position he possibly can, but the more these guys battle, of course, the more this brings Andrew Hale back into the fray, as well as possibly James Harris. But Levine right now out to over 0.8 of a second on Nathan Meyer. Now, this is a great day from Nathan Meyer, considering he is second place in the points at the moment. And he is actually catching Levine as well. Last time by ran a little bit over a little under a tenth faster than Levine, as the battle still is hot for third.
I mean, they're just all under a blanket here, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And I got to say, Andrew Hale, I'm shocked. I did not think he would have this long run pace on this second run, man. We saw he was really slow on the end of the first run because he had burned out the tires. Not really slow, but he was not the same race leading pace as he was at the beginning of the race. Sabilo, he caught him, just couldn't pass him. Andrew Hale drops from the lead back to 5th, 6th place, and somehow is working his way back up, and he's got a fighting chance at 4th here against Janzak. He's been running really good lap times here in that Ford truck, running down the 3 of Janzak for the P4 position. Looks to his inside, doesn't quite have the run though, gonna have to duck back into line, and he takes that preferred outside groove of his. I mean, he loves that outside lane, running a lane and a half up from the bottom of the racetrack. Gets a good run off the corner once again, but Janzak slides up in front of him. Andrew Hale, though, with the run, going to go to his outside, tries to get to the right rear quarter panel of the 3. Not quite able to do it on the tri-oval.
And you got to think that Keegan's probably loving this. So, you know, like, yeah, battle Craig. Yes, do not give him something else to focus on besides me. But this is definitely curious to see. Of course, we're now over, I do believe, 33 laps into this stint. Keep in mind the fuel window is 48 to 50 laps. So I should imagine that in the next 10 or 15 laps, we're probably going to see some green flag stops.
I think what you're going to see is probably the majority of people come between 60 to 65. I think that maybe even like 62 to 65. You're trying to split this thing in half, but we got people coming now. Trying to split this thing in half, right? That caution came out at lap 20 as we see Sean Bowdy come out. They didn't get back to green until 24, 25, so they got 75 laps remaining. You half that, you get 37. And then you add 37 to 30 or to 25. And you're right there in that 62 range. That's how you split it halfway on the tires. Statistically going to be your fastest way around the racetrack, but you never know with people short pitting, people over pit or kind of overcutting. And then if you're the race leader, Levine, you got this lead. You got 0.7 of a second lead on Meyer. Meyer pits. He comes out. Maybe he beats you out, but you're going to have a lap fresher tires than him the entire rest of the race. And that's what Levine has earned for being the race leader. So I imagine he's waiting on Meyer to come down. I really think that's his strategy. But you're going to see it in the next couple laps. Anywhere from 60 to 62 is kind of my breakover point.
And all conversely, just to kind of be, to argue with you a little bit. The only thing is Nathan Meyer, if he short pits Justin Levine, yes, Levine will have fresher tires than him, but also the lap fall off has been 2 seconds. If he has 1 lap fresher, or comes down pit road, uses those fresher tires for 1 lap, he jumps out 2 seconds in front of Levine.
And that's a big difference. But over 35 laps that Justin has the chance to run him back down. I mean, that's given Levine a lot of time. And Meyer also, that last lap, he was 0.2 slower. He had been running Levine down, and then all of a sudden he was 0.2 slower. So that kind of throws a big wrench into it. You know, if Levine can pull this out to a second and a half before the Meyer pit stop, then all Levine really needs to do is get to pit road better than Meyer, and he still comes out with the lead and a lap fresher tires. So these are really important laps for Meyer here. He cannot fall too much further back than this.
And I think a lot of why he probably fell back a little bit, I think it's got something to do with the dirty air. I think the closer that Meyer gets, the worse that truck's going to start to handle. He was starting to catch him, but then he hit that somewhat of that wake off of the 33. But of course, there is still battling going on all of this racetrack. You see Andrew Hale still trying to battle with Craig Ganzak, and with the Andrew Hale and Craig Ganzak battle, now that has allowed James Harris to really close in quite successfully.
Yeah, and Harris running in the 6th place position, now 0.8 of a second off of Yanzak. Again, I'm super surprised by Andrew Hill. I thought after that first run he was just going to be dead in the water on the long run.
Yeah,
but he's got this thing figured out at this point. He's running a little bit higher than I would expect you to be able to and not kill your tires. So great job from Andrew Hale as we see Brad Thacker come down pit road, currently in the 10th position. But a couple people had pitted already. Not quite sure where he was running beforehand, but now we're looking back at Meyer, who's lost a little bit more ground to Levine. Another 10th. He was only a second back not too long ago. He was 0.8 of a second back just a handful of laps ago, and now dropping off the back bumper. That's not what Meyer needs. And if I was dropping off the back bumper at this point, I'd probably call it early and come down pit road as soon as possible. Go ahead and get that undercut out of the way so that you can jump them. Because, again, if you fall back any further than this, it's not a definite that you're going to come out ahead of Levine. It's a I may not. So this is kind of the moment for Meyer. He's got to make that decision.
As well as Craig Ganzak, who was in the battle with Andrew Hale. He has decided to come down pit road and take his stop. But while we have a second, I'll give some attention once again to another sponsor here of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, that being Green Mountain Grills. We all love barbecue. Green Mountain pellet grills are top-of-the-line quality grills for all of your grilling needs. Green Mountain Grills also offers the highest quality dry rubs, sauces, pellets, but not at the highest price. Customers enjoy the best possible grilling experience without breaking the bank. Visit either one of their 1,000 locations across the U.S. or visit them at greenmountaingrills.com for online purchases, recipes, and much more. But yeah, green flag stops underway. Let's see how does this affect Yanzak's race? Is this a good call, Austin?
I mean, I feel like he was one of the guys falling off heavy, right? So his tires were falling off more than everybody else's. So I think this is just kind of a stop the bleeding moment for Yanzak. The pit window has opened. We're in that 62 to 65 range where you split it halfway. And he's just thinking, man, I got to get these tires off. I'm losing too much time. It's not a race-winning move. I really don't think so. There's no way he jumps Levine from that far back, but I do think that it could gain him a couple positions at the end of the day. But Hale pits the lap right after, not really giving, and Sabilo. So they're really not giving Yanzak much of a chance. It'll be interesting to see if Yanzak jumps these guys on the pit cycle, because he did pit that one lap earlier, but he was falling off these guys. So it might be pretty close coming off of turn 2 next lap.
No, it's definitely going to be very curious. This is going to be, especially I think the battle is going to be pretty much between Sabilo and Hale here to see who
here comes Meyer
gets the points. It looks like definitely curious to see how this all plays out. Meyer, almost spins it coming to pit road. As here comes James Harris as well on lap 66. Justin Levine still out on the racetrack. He is definitely doing the overcut. Like this call, I think tires are so significant here that he is going to be faster than about everybody. And of course, John Lucido is going to be up to that second place position, about 9 seconds back from leader Justin Levine.
And Levine will come in this lap 100%. Yep, coming down turn 4. He did what he needed to do. He stayed out a lap later than his competition here for the race win. But I got to point out, Yanzak didn't just jump Sabilo and South. He absolutely mollywopped him. He is way ahead of him coming out of pit road. I was shocked. So, I mean, even though Levine came down one lap later, we might see Nathan Meyer up in the race lead, because I mean, it was one lap between the other guys, and it was not even close coming off of pit road. So if I'm Levine here, I might be sweating bullets a little bit as we see Nathan Meyer come off pit road. He's the guy we got to watch. He is the net race leader after everybody pits. I'm assuming that he is if he passes Levine. But Levine, 4 tires, and he's coming out of pit road already. I mean, I don't know what happened to where the other guys were able to jump, or Yanzak was able to jump the other 2, but he is gone, man.
Andrew Hale as well had a very slow pit stop, 15 seconds in the box. Sabilo, of course, able to have a little bit of a better stop. And I think a lot of that has to do with, of course, we talk about the 2 seconds of fall off. I mean, Yanzak came down pit road a couple laps before.
Yeah.
Sabilo,
it was more than I thought it was.
It was actually, I think, about 3 or 4 laps that he came down before those guys. And that adds up to about like 6 seconds or 7 or 8 seconds, you know?
I mean, he's jumped Meyer and Levine. That's how much it meant. And he's not ahead by a small margin. He is leading this race by 5 seconds.
Yeah, and of course, right now he is in the net lead at the moment. Tyler Meek, well, Sean Boundy actually.
Yeah, but he was even earlier than
Yanzak. He pitted way early. And of course, his lap times, he is about a half a second off of what Craig Ganzak is doing right now. But look at Nathan Meyer lap time, though. 31.2 versus Sean Boundy, versus Craig Ganzak, 31.9. That's 6 or 7 tenths right there. That's a lot of time difference there. So, I mean, even though, yes, he did jump out to quite a big gap, that gap is going to shrink very fast.
I guess Tyler Meeks is really the one in the net race lead because he pitted on lap 57. So he's 6 lap older tires than Yanzak even is. But I think both Moundy and Meeks are going to get gobbled up by Yanzak here pretty soon. And then not long after that, Yanzak will probably get gobbled up by Meyer and Levine. But got to point out, Meyer did jump Levine on the pit stop. It looked like Levine was maybe going to get out of pit road in time, but wasn't able to do it. 7/10 of a second back from Meyer. Does have the lap of fresher tires, but hey, we saw how hard it was to pass the leader who has the clean air advantage. If Meyer can just block Levine here for the last 30 laps, he's got himself a real opportunity.
I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. I mean, 2/10 lap time difference right now between Levine and Meyer, and Levine is 6 tenths off of Meyer right now off his back bumper, and he's running the fastest laps on the racetrack right now. I mean, I think this is exactly why he waited until the last possible minute to pit here. So we'll see how this kind of plays out. Now, last time by, it was a little bit more even on the lap time with Levine being a 10th faster. So I'm definitely curious to see how this all plays out. Yanzak has now taken that second place position and is now hounding the leader, Tyler Meeks. This should not be a battle at all. Yanzak should very easily take the lead.
Yeah, and all these guys are really just hoping for a caution to come out before they get passed by Meyer and Levine. I mean, if they get a caution while they're running 1, 2, 3 right here, I mean, that's massive. That drops Levine back to 5th whenever he was running in the lead. Meyer back to 4th whenever he was running in 2nd. And jumps these guys way up the running order. I mean, Tyler Meeks qualified in 12th. If he gets a caution right now, he's looking at a real chance to win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, track position has been very, very important as we saw some very close contact almost between Yanzak and Meeks. Luckily, I don't think anything really came of it as Yanzak starts to pull away. Now, one thing as well, Yanzak, he's going to be hoping that possibly Meeks and Boundy
Meeks
slow down some of these other drivers.
I'm sorry, Meeks just absolutely obliterated the turn 1 wall before he even turned into the corner. And I thought that was going to be the caution. He kind of skated off to the left and he got a little loose. Cannot believe there's no damage to that thing. I'm telling you, he killed the fence. If this was the old damage model, that thing would have 40 seconds of damage at least.
I think our co-commentator is hallucinating. I didn't see it.
No, our producer's calling my bluff. I think we need a replay.
Oh, this is getting a little bit. I think we're definitely getting ready to have. We're about to have some drama here on the racetrack as you see Levine trying to cut his way through, and he has caught the back end of Nathan Meyer. They are all over each other right now. Here comes Levine to the inside, and he's going to see if he could possibly take this this second place position away from Meyer. Of course, this is essentially what is going to be the race for the win. Of course, Yanzak well off the pace compared to Meyer and Levine at the moment as we come to 25 to go next time by.
Yeah, Meyer trying to run down Yanzak, but more importantly, trying to hold Levine back. He knows he's got way better tires than Yanzak, so this is going to be an easy pass for Meyer. But the problem is he really cannot get held up whatsoever by the 3. If he just chooses the wrong lane or gets put in the wrong lane, as it looked like maybe it was going to happen there, instead Levine's going to get the dirty air through 3 and 4, but he's just got enough grip. I mean, he's got too much grip compared to these guys. Able to power to the inside of Yanzak as Yanzak's trying to get on the throttle, trying to come out of that corner, but he just slides the tires on throttle and cannot hold on to it. Levine, they're still side by side, but he's just going to dive into one, and he's going to take this position easily away from Craig Yanzak, and Nathan Meyer is going to follow him through.
Yep, Justin Levine back to the lead, still the fastest car on the racetrack, so it's definitely worked out perfectly. Very, very wise strategy decisions there from the 33. Now that we've had that kind of settled out, I think we'll go side by side, play one of our commercials here to give some more attention to our sponsors, but we'll be right back with some more racing here at Kentucky Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grip Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series here at Kentucky Speedway. We're getting now to less than 20 laps to go. Of course, Justin Levine has been taking care of business here at Kentucky with some awesome strategy calls, perfect pit road performance. But wow, I mean, it's looking like he's got it in the in the bag here, Austin. What can happen here that can cause that to maybe go wrong? I mean, these guys do have tires left in the pits. Could we see possibly some late race caution, or do you think it's going to go green?
Yeah, I think the only thing that could really screw Levine is if his teammate spun out, which is very possible. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Levine's going to walk away with this one at this point. I have faith in James South to keep that thing straight. So I don't think that we're going to end up seeing a yellow. Sorry, I had to throw in the weekly James South dig. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. There's nobody around him for him to hit. So I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. I think he'll be okay. I'm sure he'll be able to take care of business. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on the racetrack when it comes to battling three wide or anything like that. But of course, there is still some action. Of course, Sean Boundy, I do believe, trying to battle with Tyler Meeks. This is for that 7th place position, as well as Craig Ganzak. He just got passed by Keegan Sabilo not long ago. Of course, Sabilo trying to run down Nathan Meyer. Last time by Sabilo was about 2 to 3/10 faster. So still some things that could go, some ways and some other ways. We'll have to see as we come to now 15 laps to go here at Kentucky. But it's been a very clean race and definitely been a welcomed breath of fresh air, considering we had a little bit of a run of short track racing here in the past, not long ago here at in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the setup. I haven't driven it, so I can't say for sure, but a lot of these guys look tight. It just looks like you're waiting on the throttle and just kind of fighting to keep it out of the wall, coming out of the corners. So I just feel like that kind of lends itself to cleaner racing because the setup's technically easier to drive, right? Like you can get around the corner without spinning, but the problem is, are you going to hit that wall coming out? And everybody's done a good job not tagging the wall and just kind of letting the truck go where it needs to go. If it was loose instead, if the set built loose, then I don't know, we could see people's fishtailing all throughout the corner, but I've yet to see that all night. So I got to imagine the setup's relatively tight compared to what these guys are normally used to. And I think we're seeing that today. We start to see the big spread out field. I think we see that a lot whenever these cars get tight because it's just a battle of who can hang on to their right front tire the longest. And I just kind of think that's what we're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, one thing about it is kind of curious. We have fast pairs in the series, one, and I don't think not a single driver probably used one.
No.
Because, So they could take them home with them. I wish they carry it over to the next race. That's for sure. While we got a moment, I do want to shout out our last sponsor here for the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, that being Blackstone Management Partners. Of course, Blackstone Management guarantees an unrivaled one-on-one approach to every client, providing them with solutions and services to keep their dynamic brands thriving and one step ahead of the ever-changing consumer marketplace. Blackstone comprises expertise in marketing, communication, talent management, and event management. Working with their clients, they not only use traditional but state-of-the-art platforms, including mobile marketing, investigative marketing, and cause-driven marketing. Visit them at bsmpartners.com today. But yeah, I definitely think you're onto something there for sure when it comes to how tight the race cars have been. And that's kind of an interesting thing because usually at Kentucky, from what I recall of my experience with this racetrack, last time I raced at this track was in the Gen 6. That tells you how far back that was. But it was very loose on the exit of 4. Not the case here, it seems to be.
Was it the really bad package, or was it the one with horsepower and little spoiler?
It's probably the 550 high
wow.
downforce.
That's pretty shocking then, because those things were. I don't even want to get into that, to be honest with you. I don't even want to talk about those
cars.
Damn cars.
I actually like those cars. And
why? Why?
I mean, because I'm not a great driver, Austin, and they made me a better driver.
Well, well, that just reinforces my belief on that daggum car then, because I remember I was kicking and yelling and screaming every time I had to drive that thing, because the skill ceiling, I felt at the moment, got lowered dramatically. And all of a sudden there were people that I had never had to battle before that were all of a sudden just driving in over their heads and causing a lot of incidents. I feel like that was
probably me.
It probably was. I'm gonna have to go back into my saved files.
Well, there's Brian right there.
Yeah, I need to see if you were one of those protests I never sent, but I'll go and check after the race. But no, I'm happy. Well, I don't know. I still don't really care for the next gen too much. I feel like there's a lot of things they need to deal with because it kind of has the same problem. It doesn't have a lot of horsepower, so a lot of these tracks, and we saw it at Vegas. It put on an unbelievable show for us in the NIS race on that Friday night.
Oh yeah,
unbelievably good. But the problem is, whenever you're behind the wheel, that's not good racing. That irritates the ever living hell out of you that you're running a pack race at 1.5 miles. You got almost no off throttle time compared to, I mean, goodness, the 2018 days in the Gen 6. At 1.5 miles, you were off the throttle for most of the corner, and you were fighting that thing off, and it was the most fun freaking thing to drive. But that's completely gone. You don't hang out the right rear quarter panel. You don't have to wait on the throttle. You just get off of it for a second and you jump right back on it. And I don't know, it takes a lot of the skill out of it. Sorry, I know I've just gone all of a sudden on a next gen rant, but my goodness, that car just.
I'll tell you, there's a little bit of a. I'm sure these guys are ranting and raving behind their wheels right now because Andrew Hale has been battling hard to try to get by Yanzak, and Yanzak has been a tough customer coming up to 7 to go. I mean, they have almost had contact a couple times here, as they are definitely trying to put on a pretty good show here for the finish of this race.
Yeah, remember Yanzak's on those older tires. He did that shortcut to gain track position, which is what allowed him to pass Sabilo and allowed him to pass Andrew Hale back. So it's just kind of working out exactly how it was before the pit cycle. In all seriousness, if Andrew Hale gets ahead of Yanzak here, I think they'll be running in the exact same positions in the top 5 as what they were beforehand. Just kind of showing the strategy really didn't mean too much. As long as you didn't go way off strategy, you're probably going to be fine right where you were prior. It's all down to this battle right here, whether Yanzak holds on to P4 or whether Hale takes it. And then not only that, but Harris is not too far back either. Don't count out that Veterans Day machine coming off of turn 4. He's kind of eyeing these guys coming to 6 to go.
And he's faster than them for sure by a couple tenths, as well as there's a battle that is potentially going to happen for second. I mean, Keegan Sabilo has been running down Nathan Meyer. They're about 3 tenths separated right now. And Sabilo's over a tenth faster. So there are some battles that are going to be coming to fruition here towards the end of this race that I think are going to be highly entertaining as we come to 5 to go.
And that's interesting to me because Sabilo has older tires than Meyer does, and he's been able to run them down. Sabilo's done a great job on this set of tires to be able to be as fast as he is. No reason that he should be running down Nathan Meyer. I think Meyer pitted 1 or 2 laps afterwards, so it's not a huge difference, but it's still enough to where you'd be like, well, Meyer should probably finish ahead of him, but Sabilo's doing a good job here. We saw a near collision there in 1 and 2 between Hale and Craig Yanzak. Hale had to back out of it just then, but hey, there's still 5 laps to go. He's got plenty of time to mount that challenge one more time.
I think not to take anything away from Sabilo, I think definitely Sabilo is fast in its own right, but I think a lot of it's got to do with Nathan Meyer probably over driving to try to battle Levine. I think a lot of that Levine pushed him to kind of drive a little bit harder because, Levine was on newer tires and didn't have to try as hard. So Meyer had to kind of make up the gap with effort, I'd say, and that has caused him to overextend. And now he's under fire for second place.
Honestly, I think that's a safe bet. I mean, he had to fight really hard to try to keep Levine back. Unfortunately, was not able to do it. And it's just kind of been falling off the back bumper of that 33 ever since. And now into the clutches of the 77.
Yeah, we'll see if this
coming.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming, but, Meyer has the advantage. Of course, you have to pass me, and we're coming to 2 to go. So, I mean, as long as Meyer can just hold him off, and it just even a thousandth of a second over him across the start-finish line, he'll be okay. And I think that's what he's looking for. He's just trying to, just be as wide as possible. Give and take is out of the door. Here comes Sabila, though. He said, I'm going to take the top side. And that lap, he is scored ahead of Meyer. Is he going to be able to make that pass actually happen? We'll have to see as they race each other hard for second place. Of course, Justin Levine getting ready to come to the white flag. This race has been insanely green. We have not had a single caution except for the comp caution.
Yeah, no cautions for cause all night as Levine comes out of turn 4. Looking at that white flag, just has to make it a few more feet before the race is official. He's got a huge lead. Levine, I mean, they're just now coming off of turn 4 in that second place battle. But it looks like Sabilo has gotten by Meyer. So
Hale into the wall. Andrew Hale just hit the wall as he was trying to battle with Yanzak. Very hard hit on the wall, too. Right side damage all over that truck is Levine. Of course, is going to come home to take the win. We're going to take a look back at this replay. And we'll see this hit on the wall. Definitely not a soft hit, that's for sure. This hurt his right side substantially. Boom, right there. As Justin Levine takes home the victory. I think we're going to take a replay. Watching Justin Levine cross the line as our victor. And what a magnificent performance for this race car driver. Just took care of business. I mean, can't argue with the whole fact that he was the dominant truck here.
No, Levine was the fastest guy out here tonight. Gonna have to move my producer back down to C tier since he cut away from the race winner, going across the start finish line.
And what's crazy is he started in 8th. I mean, it was so difficult to pass at this racetrack. He started in 8th and drove his way all the way to the front. Really awesome job for Justin Levine. Well, here he goes. Going to do a little bit of a burnout here to celebrate his victory. And it's definitely going to be a good points day. Of course, I do believe entering this race, Justin Levine was 4th in the championship hunt. So this could pop him up a couple spots here. As we take a look at the final results, of course, Justin Levine, your winner. Keegan Sobilo, 2nd place. 3rd place, Nathan Meyer. Craig Yanzak able to hold on to 4th. Andrew Hale hitting the wall, finishes 5th. James Harris, 6th. John Boundy struggled a lot of the day, finished 7th. Brendan Ball, 8th. Tyler Meeks, 9th. James South in 10th. 11th place, Jason Taylor. 12th place, John Lucido. 13th, Michael Little. 14th, Brad Thacker. And 15th, Robert Wynn. That's a look top to bottom at our 15-car field here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. We're going to take a quick step away. We'll come right back and we'll talk to our top 3 finishers. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Of course, we just ramped up this 100-lap race at Kentucky Speedway. First off, we're going to go ahead and talk to our top 3 drivers. Of course, that's going to start with Nathan Meyer. All righty, we got him here in the booth. Nathan, how you doing tonight, man? Great job, great performance. Looks like it was really tight there for second place. What could you have done to possibly have beaten Levine and Keegan?
Well, I think Levine's probably on another skill level than I am, so if I beat him, it's mostly going to be on some tire strategy. But I tried to beat Keegan, at least to gain some points in the stands, but he got me, lap 99 out of 100, so it was fun. I just couldn't save tires for some reason, but yeah, it was a good race.
Now, it seemed like you were saving tires pretty good in the earlier stint.
Yeah.
So what do you think the key was to that? I mean, because it seemed like maybe Levine was pushing you to kind of drive a little harder.
Yeah, I was trying to do something different to catch up with him because that first stint, he got to like a second lead, and then I was reeling him in until I made a little mistake. So I tried to do something else to keep up with him, and I just burned it more, and then he ended up catching up. But yeah, I just didn't have anything for him.
Well, definitely still a great run for you here. How do you like Kentucky?
You know, I used to like it a lot more. For some reason, it was just, besides the restart, it was just you're all by your lonesome. It's not that much fun. So not a huge fan this time around.
Well, of course, now that we've come to this unique 1.5-mile track, we're going to another unique 1.5-mile track, Homestead. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, that one's more fun. It's a little bit more pack racing there with the draft and all that. It's easy to catch up if you miss a corner or whatever, and you get the bump drafting going on down the straight. So that one's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Nathan. Well, who can we give a shout out to after your third place finish?
Yeah, thanks to you guys and Green Mountain Girls Champion, all you guys for putting it on. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Thanks for your time, Nathan. We'll see you next week, brother.
Thanks, man.
All righty. That was Nathan Meyer, driver of the 24 machine, finished in third. Next up, we're going to be talking to Keegan Sabilo. And he is standing by with Austin Edstrom.
Keegan, good P2 here tonight. What more did you need, to kind of run down Levine? It just seems like you ran out of time, and, you had that bad pit stop on the caution. Do you think that was kind of the changeover point, or what could you have done different to maybe give Levine a run for his money here?
Yeah, I think it was 100% the pit stop there because of, I kind of couldn't panic in the situation to go try and make it up. I kind of just had to take what was given to me there and hope for it to pay back during the long run. And somewhat worked, was really making up some time there before we had the green flag pit stop. But yeah, just man, if I could do that over again, I just overshot the pit box a little bit. Fortunate, didn't lose too much there, but did what we could out there tonight. Levine was on a whole nother level. I don't know how he fired off so well and then was able to keep that speed throughout the run, which was just really impressive. He deserved it tonight.
You're still really quick in your own right, and we saw you hounding for the race lead. Andrew Hale there early, and then, still doing a really good job to work back through the field, because we were talking about the dirty air seemed really to be a really big trouble tonight, especially getting back in the traffic. It seemed like you were way faster than Andrew Hale on that first run at the end of it, and just could not get the pass made. Was the dirty air as big of a problem as I'm kind of making it out to be, and how was the truck to drive? Was it just a little bit too much on the tight side?
Yeah, the truck was really tight in the long run, no matter where you put it. With Andrew there, it wasn't that more so dirty air racing with him, but it was more, I can't, as tight as those trucks were, I wasn't able to carry the momentum out on corner. I kind of have to pinch entry, and I couldn't push it up on exit to get the momentum on them and have a run down the straightaway. And every time I just had to start at the beginning in each corner, and it was just so difficult to complete the pass. And I was trying to be nice and calm too at the same time because there was no reason to tear up some race trucks early. But I was able to learn from that, and that's when I decided I wasn't going to go underneath Nathan Meyer there. Then I was going right around the outside because it wasn't going to work on the bottom.
Well, congrats on the P2, and are there any shout outs you can give us here at the end of the interview?
Yeah, thank you to all the sponsors that put this on, Champion Power Equipment, and all the sponsors, James and everything for running this. Appreciate you guys broadcasting all the sponsors in the truck, After Hours Restorations, Team Admin Box, Johnson iRacing Team, Jazbowski Designs, Sabilo Racing Esports. We won the MLR Cup Series Championship last night, so that's on the big week, and just happy to be one of the short track races out here. Having some fun, and can't sneeze on a P2 when I don't even really know too much about these racetracks as well as a pole. So we'll take it. We'll move on to Homestead for next week. Try and dodge another bullet there, and try and keep this points lead.
Yeah, well, congrats on the good points tonight. Like you said, keeping the points lead. So congratulations, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again later in the season.
I hope.
All right, that was our second place finisher, Keegan Sabilo. Next up, we're going to pull up Justin Levine. He's standing by with Brian Britt.
Justin, definitely, what a whooping you put on these guys here. You started in P8, you drove your way all the way up to the lead, and you were flawless, I'd say, on pit strategy, as well as your execution on pit road. I mean, walk us through all the puzzle pieces that went to having such a good race.
Definitely a bit of a learning curve. Haven't been here in quite some time, especially with the trucks. I can't remember the last time I actually ran at Kentucky, but qualifying was my first few laps here. Definitely blew that up. And then up until the first competition caution, I was just burning the right front. So I figured use a little more brake, try to get the car to rotate a little bit. And slowly but surely, once I got the clean air, I figured it out, and Nate started running me down there. So I started backing out my corners, was able to give him a little bit of dirty air and hold him off to pit. Took it nice and easy on pit road. Again, I don't think I've ever had a green flag stop here, so I'd rather take it safe than sorry. Gave up a little bit of time on exit. Nathan was able to get around me, but the lap difference on tires was huge. I thought he was going to be right up behind me, probably within the second and a half, and to see he fell down to third, I was taken back. I guess he was pushing a bit, but you just had to get in rhythm and make sure you hit your points and you didn't destroy the right front, because this truck got tight real fast.
Well, when we talked to him, he said he just kind of pushed a little hard to try to stay with you and possibly compete. And it seemed like one lap was enough to be, vastly different. So, I mean, your call to kind of long, overcut was really a stroke of genius for you. So it definitely worked out well. I mean, of course, you finished with over 5 seconds on Keegan Sabilo. You as well have moved up to second in the points. I mean, so you might have a legit shot for a title here.
I hope so. We got 4 left. I'm trying my hardest. Felt like I should have won last year, but due to work, missed a few races and gave it up. So trying to redeem myself.
Well, definitely a great race for you here. Shows, I think, your skill level, considering, like you said, you came into this race and didn't even your first laps were in qualifying. I mean, man, how do you get to that point to be able to just jump into a track, and as the race goes on, you kind of go to school that quickly?
It's definitely all the years on the sim. Like it. Even though it's my first time here in this package, this setup, it still drives the same. It's just now you have to figure out how much you could drive into the corner or how much brake and so on and so forth. But with this many laps and having a bunch of good racers out here, it's pretty easy to follow someone that's faster than you, try to mimic them the best you can, and then put your own style to it and see what happens. And it just turned out that I figured it out before anybody else, and once I was out front, it was pretty tough to try to catch me.
That's for sure. Of course, Homestead's next week. How are you feeling about that racetrack?
That is one of my favorite tracks. So I really look forward to it. I really hope that we're able to run multi-grooves. I highly doubt it because of when we were there in NIS and Homestead week. But I'm going to try to rip the wall. But that's my favorite place to be, up against the wall at Homestead. So we're going to see if it works.
Well, we hope for your sake it does work, Justin. Thanks for your time. Who can we give a shout out to after your big win here tonight?
A shout out to the best broadcasters in the network. Champion Power Tools, James for putting this on for us. Great admins, a great league. Definitely for the viewers out there thinking about looking into it, this is the place to be. As you can see, it's green flag, but the only caution was the competition caution. So if you're looking for some good clean racing, this is the place to be. And all the viewers, thank you for taking the time watching us.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Justin. And yeah, definitely right. Very good league, and we hope to see next season a lot more participation for this series. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All righty. That was Justin Levine. What a great job to him. I mean, isn't that just something special, Austin? This really shows the level of skill that he has. I mean, to start in 8th, he bungled qualifying from what he says. First laps on this track were in qualifying, And as you know, by the time the competition caution it came out, he was ready to go and was the fastest car out here. I mean, just speaks to his skill level.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the strategy you can play on the series with the stage break there. You can kind of just pick and choose your moments there in that first stage, just gain a couple positions and set yourself up nicely for that second half of the race, right? Or the last, 3/4 of it. And that's exactly what he did here tonight. Put himself in a position to where he can make a good strategy call at the end, where he kind of dictated the strategy everybody else had to play. So really well played from Levine there tonight, and good job from Sabilo and Nathan Meyer to bring it home in the top 3 positions as well. Really good points nights for all those guys. And the points battle's tightening up front. Levine coming from 3rd, now up to 2nd. Sabilo finished 2nd, leading the points, but still loses out on a couple points to Levine there. So just tightens up that playoff battle just a little bit.
That it does. Of course, let's take a look at the future here of the week here on Grid Vision and see exactly what we have on the docket. Of course, Thursday, I do believe we're going to have the SSRL Truck Series, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going to be at Atlanta, and I think Justin Prince, from what he said last night, was not sure whether it's going to be the new Atlanta or the old. So definitely going to be, looks like it's actually going to be the old Atlanta from what our producer's saying.
Nice.
So that's going to be good. I might have to tune in for that one. So definitely make sure you tune in. I know, Justin calls that series, so looking forward to that. Of course, Saturday we're going to see the Major Series back in action as they're getting closer and closer to wrapping up their season, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do believe they're going to have the GP at Silverstone, so definitely looking forward to that for sure. Of course, on Sunday, a little bit of a typo or a little bit of a mistake there on our schedule. It's actually going to be the RGR Kyloo Glass Cup Xfinity Series at Iowa at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time there on Sunday as well. So definitely an action-packed week of racing for sure. But with that, I do believe that brings us to the conclusion of tonight's broadcast. Definitely a great job to everybody that participated in this series here tonight. To see it go green like that was definitely something awesome to see. Of course, congratulations to Justin Levine on bringing the victory. Of course, as Austin said as well, to Keegan Sabilo and Nathan Meyer for grabbing some great points. It's going to be a tight battle for the title here as we have 4 races left after this one. Thanks to everyone as well that tuned in tonight. I want to thank my co-commentator, Austin Edstrom, my producer that runs all the cameras. Definitely fantastic job for him, Austin Derbyshire, and anyone else that's involved with Grid Vision. My name is Brian Britt. We'll see you next time.